Now it's counting.
Oh, now it's recording. Okay. We're doing lab number 2 today, and we're hooking up a master control relay to be used in the following labs. So we're going to need an emergency stop button, which is one if you push it in stays in, a start button, and a light, and then we're going to have 2 relays, a master control relay and just a control relay. So that's our plan. And if we look at our relay, bring it a little bit closer, we can see that if you hook up between 2 and 7, you'll turn the relay on, and the normal opening contacts are 1 to 3 and 8 to 6. So that's going to be our plan. Okay. So we're going to start wiring some wires. As we wire those wires, what we're going to do is we're going to cross out the wire we put on our wiring diagram. So the first wire we're going to run is going to be from power to the emergency stop button. And before we start, we're going to notice that the switch is in the off position, so we're not powered. And we're going to see if we can do something about the tilt on the camera. Okay. Okay, proceed. And mount those guys higher. Yep, thank you. Lab number 2, because it's being used by the other labs, is something we're going to mount higher so that it's out of the way. Hook up that red wire first.
Hook it up.
Yeah. Then up to the stop button.
Yep.
That way I can mark it off.
All right.
Okay, so we've hooked up a wire from power to the emergency stop button, and I've crossed it off my paper. Okay,
So now I need to go from the emergency stop to the switch.
yeah, to start. Okay, got it.
Black wire because it's
Yep, black
not
wire is
hot.
fine. Okay, we've hooked up a wire from the emergency stop switch to the start push button. We're now going to run a wire from the start push button to the control relay number 2.
Different than I would have done it.
When we wire these things up, we follow across one line of the ladder logic.
All right.
So that we don't get confused. Not that we're ever confused.
Okay, so from start, go to 2.
From start, go to 2. So we've hooked a wire from the start push button up to control relay number 2. Now we're going to take a white wire and go from 6 to common on the control relay.
7 to come.
Oh, 7 to common, correct. Okay, we have the first run of our ladder logic has been wired. So we've gone from power to the emergency stop button, from the emergency start to start, start to 2, 7 to common. Now we're going to go to the next line of the diagram, which is the normally open control relay below the start guide. And we're going to run a wire from 1 of the control relay to the start. And we're going to go to the start side of the start switch that comes from stop.
The front side of the...
Nope, not from red,
You said I could come from the front side.
of start. And the red is going to the stop person. So you're taking a screw off there.
Okay.
You want to come in there between
The front side of the start.
Yeah,
To 1.
yes. Now if you look at our switches and our lights, you'll see that they can have 2 wires going to them, one on either side of their screw. Any more than 2 wires, and we'd have to use a terminal board to be in accordance with code. Because you're not allowed to have more than 2 wires going to your switch.
If you're at home, you can just use a wire nut.
Wire nuts are not allowed,
Unless you're at
except where they are allowed.
home.
Okay? So next we're going to go from 3 of the control relay to 2 of the control relay. Because that's just a little small wire. We're going to go 3 to 2 on the control relay.
Well, two's already taken.
That's fine, you can have 2 wires in 2.
You can't put 2
Yes,
wires in
you
there?
can.
Did not know that. I wish I would have.
And this would be a short wire. You have 1 wire on either side of the screw. That's okay. Perfectly okay. Can't have 3. You can have 2. Okay, so we've hooked up a wire from 3 of the control relay to 2 of the control relay. Now we're looking at the pilot light, and we're going to hook the pilot light into the start button, the opposite side of the start button where we hooked up the control relay to.
These lights directional.
No. The pilot lights are AC power. There's no direction associated with them. Then we're going to hook up the pilot light back to common with a white wire. Every time we go to common, we're going to use a white wire, so we're not confused later. Okay, so we've now wired the second run of our wiring diagram, which included the control relay normally open contacts between 1 and 3, and the pilot light, which will come on when the control relay is on. We now go to the next run, and we're going to bring a red wire from hot down to the control relay. In this case, we're using pin 8.
Is this Thursday, is our map going to be recorded? Oh, okay. I have to leave early for a funeral. Okay. I just drove about.
Now we're going to run a black wire from 6 of the control relay to A1 of the master control relay. By the electric code, all electrical equipment in a manufacturing setting has to have an emergency stop button, which is connected to a master control relay, which turns power off to everything in the piece of equipment that you're powering. And that's why we call it a master control relay. Okay, now we're going to go from A2 of the master control relay with a white wire back up to common. If we get in a little closer, we might be able to see the A1 and the A2 on the master control relay. And then wiring on. One more wire. We're coming from hot to the master control relay number 13, which is just one of the auxiliary contacts that are associated with that relay. The master control relay we're using can power up to a 5 horsepower motor. We're just using it as an object of convenience because we have one. Pin 14 of the master control relay is where all the rest of the projects, the next 10 projects, will be powered from. So at this point, all of our wires are connected, except the 6 wires going to hot and common up there on top, which will be hooked up next. And then we'll turn our switches and our lights around and see if it works.
Should I turn them on first?
No, I'm turning them on. You can, either way. have 6 wires now hooked up to hot into common, 3 and 3, and we're now turning around our push buttons so that they're facing the right way. These push buttons and lights are Allen Bradley equipment. They're between $45 and $75 a piece. In the real world, each of our wires would be numbered on both ends. They would flow smoothly through our wire holders. And they'd all be the right length and not use one bit of more copper than what would be needed. Luckily, this is a lab and we have plenty of wire. Okay. We'll now turn on power after we put the relay in.
That's what I was looking for. Oh,
Okay, there you go. Pull the stop guy out. Okay, there you go. Now we're going to turn on power. Power is on. We're going to push the start button. We expect nothing to work because, oh, it worked. Everything's fine. Hit the stop button, boom, it goes away. Pay attention to the master control relay. I don't know if you can see it or not, but watch when we push the button, the master control relay goes in. Okay, so that's the completion of project number 2, construction of our master control relay. We have put it high in the circuit so that we can build things below it.